Hello, sweet virtual friends. Welcome back to Social Studies. We are going to do a quick read aloud of the Social Studies Weekly for you guys to help you out with your assignments for this week. So I'm doing the read alouds for you guys because I know some of you are having trouble with getting the Social Studies Weekly together. So just bear with me, all right? And this. Whew, I'm so ready for all my friends to come back to school soon. I am so excited. All right, I'm going to share my screen with you guys. All right, here we go. Okay, so this week we are doing the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. So we are on week 7, and I am going to read you through Shays' Rebellion. We're going to zoom on in for you. All right. So this little thing is going to be annoying. All right. So on Shays' Rebellion shakes things up. The Treaty of Paris ended the American Revolution, and the 13 colonies were now independent states. The United States won freedom from Great Britain and a large amount of land. Just how would the new country run itself? The government of the United States would replace the king and parliament. What kind of government would be best for the new nation? This was not a quick and easy decision. After the Revolutionary War, the 13 states continued to follow the government set up by the Articles of Confederation. The national government included a Congress that could declare war and pass laws, but the national government was very weak. 9 of the 13 states had to approve laws or they didn't become laws at all. The government had no president to lead the country and no court system to settle arguments. Problems for the new country were piling up. The weak Congress had no power to collect taxes from any of the states. That made it impossible to pay the soldiers who had fought in the Continental Army. The soldiers were very upset because they needed money to take care of their families and farms. All across the new nation, former soldiers were getting angry. One former soldier named Daniel Shays decided to try and find an answer to the problem at any cost. Shay led thousands of hundreds of farmers and former soldiers in a rebellion. A rebellion is an open attack. It's usually armed. Against the new country's leaders. In January of 1787, Shays and his men took their guns and headed to Springfield, Massachusetts. They were attacked. There they attacked a government arsenal, which is a place where weapons are stored. 4 men were killed and many were wounded. After the rebellion, Daniel Shays escaped to Vermont. Shays' rebellion frightened national leaders. It was clear that the Articles of Confederation were too weak. The United States needed a strong government that could pay the nation's bills as well as keep order and settle disagreements. Okay, my friends, so that was just a quick snippet about Shays' Rebellion. We're going to continue on. Here we go. All right. So what I do want you to keep in mind, guys, is just the timeline. We are just going to go over this right section for you guys, today's assignment. And then in our next video, I believe on Friday, don't quote me on it, my loves, but we will then go over the right side in depth. We'll cover a little bit of what's on the right side in your assignment. However, I just kind of want to focus on just kind of the main things and block it for you. That way I'm not shoving your sweet little minds with too much information all at once. Okay, so I'm going to continue on this left side here. Whoop, a little too far. Here we go. All right, so the Constitutional Convention. By May of 1787, it was clear to U.S. leaders that the Articles of Confederation were just too weak. The U.S. government could never be strong if it did not have the power to pay bills and keep order. Leaders from 13 states, all of them but Rhode Island, met in Philadelphia. They planned to rewrite the Articles of Confederation, but they soon realized they needed to write a whole new document. The delegates at the Constitutional Convention included some of the most well-known of America's founding fathers. Many of them were lawyers, but others were doctors, soldiers, farmers, and merchants. Most of the men were well-educated and wealthy. The convention leaders. The delegates worked hard during the hot summer to write a new plan for the nation's government. Here is a list of some of the delegates and what they contributed to the convention. George Washington was the president of the convention. He made sure everyone was respectful to one another. Benjamin Franklin was the oldest delegate at 81 years old. Franklin offered advice when other delegates lost their patience. James Madison wanted a strong national government. He was a good speaker and stated his points clearly. People later called him the father of the Constitution. George Mason was from Virginia. He attended the convention, but he did not sign the U.S. Constitution. He did not agree with some parts of the document, and he thought it should contain a Bill of Rights when the Bill of Rights was added later. Many of those rights came from Mason's ideas. Charles Pinckney was a delegate from South Carolina. He did not get along well with some of the other delegates. Long after the Constitution was approved, people began to realize that the final form included many of Pinckney's ideas. Roger Sherman was responsible for what we know as the Great Compromise of the Convention. It was Sherman's idea to divide the legislative branch into a House of Representatives and a Senate. The new government. The delegates worked very hard for 4 months. On September 17, 1787, all but 3 men signed the final Constitution. The preamble, which is the introduction, clearly explained the purpose of the document. The Articles of the Constitution explained how the government would be set up and how it would work. The delegates agreed to have both state governments and a strong national government. They agreed the national government would be divided into 3 branches or parts. So we are starting to get into a lot of historical documents. We just finished talking about the Declaration of Independence, and now we're going to go over the U.S. Constitution, and we are going to kind of start covering the 3 branches of government. So we are really getting into our government and how it works and how it became now that our 13 colonies are finally 13 states and they are free from Great Britain. So your assignments this week will be focused on the Constitution and the 3 branches of the government so that you guys can properly understand how our government works. So, my sweet friends, if you guys have any questions for me, please feel free to email me any questions about those assignments that you will see. Refer back to this video as much as you can. It will be helpful for you to just hear it being said and spoke to you and just read aloud to you. So if you are just bored and you miss Miss Gonzalez, you can always come back and check out the video just to help you guys out. With that being said, I know that this video was very, very quick, but I just want to make sure that you guys have plenty of time for the assignments. So just a small snippet for you, my lovelies, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, my loves.